it is so beautiful to see. And she kept asking, is there anything else, and following up. And I'm like, yeah, this is what happens when you build people around you, people who believe in you so much that they're willing to go the extra mile for you. And I don't even think you know any half of these conversations.
No.
Yes. So utamongeza mshahara. I'm company for parents. Okay, Esther, ukionekana unione. Yes. And Carol, thank you so much for being so candid. We like to tell neat stories where we look cute and everything is tied up in a bow, but you have shown yourself to us. You've allowed us to judge you.
We didn't judge.
And also in the process, not judge, let me not say the word, but also just see ourselves. Because many times we imagine if someone is doing well, or we think they're doing well, then they have no reason to cry. We imagine, but what is she crying about? She lives in a nice place, you know. Why are you complaining? You have money. And yet, really, living in a nice place is wonderful because it's first of all, it's a basic need.
Right.
Yeah. And having money is usually a basic need because it affords you your education, your other things. But we forget the emotional being.
Yeah.
And it gets neglected because the physical things are covered, you know. You're eating, you're sleeping, what's your problem? You know, like, don't you have everything?
Yeah.
You have uniform, you're going to school, nini shida yako, you know.
Yeah.
And that's like majority of us have been raised in that like sort of environment where even if it's not your parents telling you, it's even the people in your neighborhood telling you, yeah, why are you complaining? You guys live in a better house than everyone else in the neighborhood. But that's not really, so thank you for just sharing that part of your journey, and thank you for coming into the space to be with women and to support women. So yeah, so we're just going to kick off the panel, but I really wanted to appreciate you because I know a bit of you all in different ways, and I'm really appreciative. And Carol, thank you for reaching out. Thank you for coming here today. Yeah, I recently recently went back into therapy, so I know. Yeah, it's hella messy, but we thank God.
Yeah.
Yes.
It gets messy and then better.
Yeah, I mean the dirty part of it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to making it out of the woods. Mom, don't judge me. My mom is judging me. That's Mama Violette over there.
You should have a standing
Mommy says, give it to Jesus. Which is amazing.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so I'm just gonna ask, and this is just to anybody of you who's ready. I know we say that success is competitive, you know, because I mean there's like only so much room at the top. So, and I want to give it to anybody. So I'll give it to Susie. So Susie, how do you marry the collaborative spirit with competition? Because again, it's almost like there can only be one winner.
What I created, and then who, of course, now inside of the investment space, you have to list down who are your competitors, and I'm like, I'm not sure. Okay, here's brands that are in the market, but what I'm doing, they are not doing, and what they're doing, I'm not doing. And then still back to my purpose, like growing the African beauty industry. It's so hard for me to be like, Mac. They're like, but Mac is your competition. I'm like, Mac is not, because I don't offer what they offer. And I worked for Mac for 6 years also. Like, I love their stuff, but I haven't done what they've done. And I'm not trying to take their customer, like, you know.
You don't want to make a ruby wheel?
No, I don't want to make a ruby woo. I made my Zamba, and I made my whatever, and that they don't have that. So inside of my beauty space, no, I don't look at competition. So even Obao, like, I think I'm going to say I'm not the founder of Obao. So the founder, she created this product. I think she can claim to be the first person that used the baobab powder and oil to make cosmetics, and I'm so proud of her to be able to say that. Now, yes, there's other baobab powders here and there. There's baobab oils, but not necessarily this brand. Yeah, so every brand has its own promise and its own what they're offering, that's different from another one, and that's why they can be in the market together. Does that answer?
Yeah. I think it answers. Yeah. All right. Thank you for the advice, Brenda. So, for you, Dr. Jani, because I know you started off in community before you went into, say, social enterprise. What has been the benefit of starting the community before starting a business? Because most of us just do the business first, and then now the people who are magnetized towards that business become the community. So for you, what has that looked like, and then what has been the outcome of that?
Did we do it right? Yes. Timing. I think I just naturally, like I mentioned, I had the honor and privilege to naturally do it this way. I tell everyone, I do a lot of coaching and mentorship for businesses, and I say, I'm not the model to follow because I did everything backwards and all wrong in the sense of scaling or growing or profitability. But I would say starting in community and understanding community internally within our own company is what makes our culture really unique. We also can say community is outwardly, right? That's our customers, that's understanding them, that's understanding how we meet them. And the only way to do that is to radically listen. I think we can assume we know that we know what you want and whatnot, and a lot of assumptions happen all the time in business, and then we put it out there and we're like, that wasn't received as like I thought. And so I think by starting in community, I learned how to radically listen really well. And so before we start anything, I mean, it's similar to market research, but it's very different. We really have a high touch in caring for our customers. We have multiple brands under Amani Collective now, and a lot of people know us as really an artisan design firm too, where you can come to us and design anything from the ground up and make bespoke pieces and stuff. So we really had to rebrand ourselves over time in marketing, where people don't just say, oh, they're artisan and crafty. Like, please do not call me a craft business. We'll have a conversation. We have beautiful pieces. In fact, we're exhibiting in Nairobi Design Week this week, and you can come see us at Alliance Francaise and see our pieces. And so what I want people to know is the elevation of what we can create. But we also started to create that because of listening to our community here in Kenya and understanding what people truly wanted. And I love being able to change the conversation and be able to elevate artisan stories, to be able to elevate handmade and turn the narrative and say, this can be quality, this can be good, and this is all right here in front of you. And so I really value local community. So starting in community allowed me to build my business a little different from the inward out, radically listen to people, understand them, and create a culture that people don't want to walk away from. Most people, I find women in business that I mentor and coach, leave corporate because of toxicity. It's interesting because I started my NGO when I registered it when I was 19. I moved here when I was 21, and so I never known corporate. And so I empathize for you who have been through that and have experienced toxicity, because from the beginning, I've been able to really create a space that's loving and kind and create a different culture. And so that all started from inward. And then it allows us to understand our customers better and allows us to respect the outward side of what makes us successful too. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So this is back to Susie. I'll switch my mic off when I finish asking, and then you can switch yours on. Yes. So we talked about earlier how in the spirit of give to gain, there's been someone to open a door for you, to let you in, to speak about you in a place. So you had no idea if that room existed, but someone spoke about you there. And of course, I know along your journey, you've mentored some people here and there, formally or informally. Have you ever taken a chance on someone who exceeded expectations?
Definitely. And so this mentorship journey of mine, I didn't even know was a thing, because starting off from when I was even still a makeup artist, still sort of thinking about starting Susie Beauty. So I had a lot of work on my plate. So I was like, I need like a person. And So I actually just called the 3 top beauty schools, and I'm like, please send me your top 5 students, and I'll interview them. So there was one that was like, okay, and they're like, okay, what are your particularities? These are my, but also I need your top players. So one school was like, please, I know you said you only want ladies, but there's a guy who's really good. And I'm like, no, I don't want. No, I only want. So it's an all-girl band, no. And they're like, okay, it's okay. We'll send you 3 girls, but then also just talk to him. And he's right now still one of the top makeup artists in the industry. So I mean, I met him, interviewed him, mentored him. He's fantastic. Kobe, he's called Kobe. Yeah. And then another one of my mentees is when I started beauty, I needed a strong like salesperson around me, because I started this for the first time, and you know this from the States, like, you know, you go to a beauty shop and there's a person there to lead you through the products. There was nothing like that at that time. So I'm like, no, I have my stand. I'm bringing my stand to your shop, Mr. Mimosa, and my girl is going to be there to sell my stuff. Okay. So this became the first thing. So Rose, her name is Rose Tomondo.
Yes.
So she was my first like sales person. Now she's a little conglomerate on her own.
Yeah.
So those 2 are my like amazing stories. There's many more little other ones, and people are in the industry doing the thing that I need them to do, which is growing our African beauty industry. Yeah.
I honestly wish Rose was here to hear that. So, but it's been recorded. I must send her that clip because she's so good at what she does, and she actually then offers. You know, she has beauty classes.
She's a fantastic trainer. And also I'm going to add, I still look to them. This is back to the give and gain, because I'll call Rose for advice. I'll call Rose. I'm like, my salespeople are like, are they? Did I do it right? And she's like, no, let's maybe change this around. Like, I'll get advice from her. I'll get advice from Kobe. So it's back. I'm learning from them also. I think it's good to learn something new every day. And I want like everyone in this room can teach me something, not to close that shop.
Lovely.
So this is for you, Carol. Grab the mic. Yes. So we spoke about when you told us your story about your client, I thought she definitely did not have community, and that was part of why she wanted you to sit with her. And then of course for you, the fact that you just even sat there with lunch to have lunch with her, it was a big deal for her, but you didn't think it was a thing. So when you talk about giving to gain, what are a few of the practical ways that looks like now? How would it play out in terms of course, protecting our mental health, getting emotional stability, and even just creating those networks that are safe for us to grow in and maybe make mistakes in and still rise again. So, you know, what does that look like in practical terms? What should you tell all of us to, to start working on? I know there's a whole encyclopedia, but yeah.
Oh, thank you for that question. I think as the MC first said, you have to be full first. You can't give from an empty cup. It's give to gain. You can't give nothing. Otherwise then you receive nothing, right? Whatever it is that you're going to give, it's something. Okay, I think I'm confusing you guys. So if it's nothing, you give out, then you receive nothing. But if it's substance that you're giving, then you receive substance back, right? So I think it's the IT people, it's Gigo. It's garbage in, garbage out. So now with mental health is mental wellness in, mental wellness out. Okay? So if you're mentally well, please, anyone who's traveled on a plane, we all know if the oxygen levels fall or they go down, and you're a mother and you're probably carrying your 1 month or 2 month or 6 month old baby, what do they say? And those gas masks come down. yourself first. I know for all the mothers here, they're like, yeah, no way. Yeah, I asked my sister that. She didn't even have that conversation with me. She was like, yeah, we're not doing that. Yeah, we're not doing that. But if you can't give from an empty place, you can't give from an empty cup. So again, if you're a leader in your own capacity, fill yourself first, and especially mentally, because of course you're building companies, you're looking to scale and all that. But apart from looking to scale the company and all that, how are you empowering your people, your team mentally? Because what you give them is what you give back, is what you get back. I was reading, I think a year ago, there's a HR, this CEO, she calls me, she's like, I need you to come and talk to my team. They're behaving, I don't know how. I mean, she was like, I need to find out what's going on with them. I was like, okay, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, I'll come. So I go, I talk to her team. Do you know, her team was on the verge of going to her competitors, including her PA. Oh. Now, when it's the team, it's fine. But your PA wants to leave and is not telling you, man, that was really bad. So what they told me was that about a year ago, she started becoming very vile. Very, very vile. I mean, you've done something and she just reprimand you in the open. Again, leaders, people under you, they're mothers, they're people's fathers, they're people's children. So be human. Over and above being a boss babe and being wealthy person and all that, you're human first. Stretch out your hand. I do a lot of demonstrations. Stretch your hand. Maybe I want you to see my sleeve. Yeah, you noticed. Thank you very much. You're intelligent people. The other hand, pinch yourself. Take your other hand, pinch yourself. Pinch. Oh, jeez. Okay, give it to your neighbor. Oh, does it hurt? So you're human. In the capacity. Wakamba, so in the capacity that you're in, you're still human. You feel. So this lady, again, about a year ago, she had again started becoming very vile, and she started becoming very, very nasty to everyone. And I mean, it got to a point that, like, you know what? So they use those words for the train guy, and they were like, you know what? We're going to do a whole, like, just an exodus, all of us. Like, she just come to the office and find everyone gone. Mpaka the cleaning lady. Like, I was like, yo. You guys need to form a union, because this unity is mad, right? Do you know? So I told them, okay, you guys calm down. So I had to shift it down, although I can't drive a stick shift to save my life. So I had to go back to the CEO and talk. So she's like, what's wrong with them? I'm like, bruh. Let's back that first. How are you? Let me tell you that. How are you? She started crying. I was like, where? Okay. She started crying because, you see, at the top, as we say, boss babes, it's very lonely. So get support system where they understand you. Again, I give credit to the Holy Spirit, because the Holy Spirit directs your path. The Holy Spirit makes you avoid mistakes. There are people now, I just look at you, I'm like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. You get. So about that year ago, what had happened to her is that she had lost a child due to abuse. And that son of Adam left her for the house manager. Yeah. This is boss babe. Hata siwezi waambia ni nani. Of course I cannot. Some of us therapists, some of the things we hear, we'll go with them to our graves. Because do you understand? As in, and she had nowhere. She couldn't get a therapist. She couldn't get. I was like, don't you have community that you can? Don't you have someone that you can trust? But you see, now when you're up there, there's a certain way you need to be. You need to be strong for everyone. God loves you. Sorry, God does that with me a lot. I'm like, don't set me up. God loves you. God loves you. Madam Treasurer, God loves you. God loves you. Yeah, so she did not have anyone to talk to. So she was projecting what she was going through onto her team. And she became, she lost a child that she had held. That you don't just glaze over. And she still had to run a company. Because if she's not there, again, boss babes, learn how to delegate. You can't do everything by yourself. I had to learn that the hard way. Because if I'm not there, everything will disintegrate. Let it disintegrate then. If you can't build systems that can self-sustain, do you understand? Build systems that can self-sustain. And being at the top, get people who you trust. People that don't care about your makeup, don't care about your titles, don't care how much money you make. I get people coming to me with hats and shades so that people don't see them. Because they're up there, and what if people see me coming for therapy? What will they say? I'm like, what? Do you go to hospital like that? But because of what society will say, what are they going to say about you being up there? Like, you shouldn't have. Why? You're making I don't know how much per year. What do you mean you have problems? You where? Audacity to cry where? Machozi, suck it in. So take care of your mental health. That's how you gain. You give to gain. So you give from a place of abundance and healthy abundance, because you can also give from a place of unhealthy. You get abundance, and we all say empowered women, empowered women. How are you empowered? You can be empowered with bitterness, and that's what you're passing around. You can be empowered with empathy, and that's what you're passing around. That your team is like yo. If we're voting for a leader or a CEO, that's who we are voting for. I don't know if that answers the question.
Thank you so much. Wow. Okay. God loves me.
It does.
Yes, amen. So this is just one final question, because I really want the guests here to interact with you, to network with you. They're not going anywhere. I'm not rushing them out. But I just want to ask something that each of you can answer briefly. You have been given, and of course you've gained. You've given to others, you've gained from others. What is one important door you felt that was open for you? So we can just go around. Yeah. Maybe we can start with Susie. What important door was open for you? And what important, of course you told us about the important doors you opened for others. So maybe for you, tell us an important door that was open for you, or an opportunity, or an ear.
Mm-hmm. Open for me.
Susie, nobody opened doors for you?
No, I've had to choose, please.
Gosh, that's a tough one. I don't know that I'm a hustler, right? So I hustle through it all, and I think I'm going to say maybe through the years after, like in the beginning, I'm going to say like, I'm the one knocking down doors and forcing my seat to the table and enforcing and just hustling through. And I'm the one that was breaking down the shrubs in the forest, so they would come behind me in peace. Now maybe later, okay, so a good friend of mine is like Wandia of Vivo. So she elevated. So when maybe she's a big sounding word for me, and she's a big influencer, like in my head, a big sister type of situation. So when I'm fumbling and mumbling, she can make me see a clearer path. Maybe that. But no, otherwise I'm the forest bringer and the chair bringer to the table.
I feel you, Susie, because I'm a pioneer as well in this space, and you start off and you look around and it's not doing what you're doing, so it's really insane. And I really thank God for everybody who bet on me, who said, "Oh, okay, let's come and see what she's doing." So for me, I feel like those were my way openers, or givers.
Sure.
Yeah, that give me a chance to gain the experience and also the advantage and growth that I have. But I can get you when you're hacking through the forest.
And it's like people who supported me bought products. Like for me, when I started the video, I'm like, if one person buys one lipstick, I've made it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man. So what we built and started, and I say we because I always give credit to the pioneers, the first 16 women that said yes to me entering their lives and us building it together. They were friends for 3 to 4 years before we actually started the NGO. But I would say we were doing something very unique. You'll hear social enterprise and social entrepreneur now quite often, but when we were entering the space, this was in 2014 and 15. So it's now a convoluted and saturated market where it's like, oh, we have a social mission. That's almost common now in most businesses. And the social entrepreneur phase has quite, I would say, dissipated. Doesn't have as much strength in the sense of, because it's there, people are doing it. But in 2014, this was a little unspoken of, in the sense of when you would go ask for support, people would say, well, are you a nonprofit or are you a business? And I said, well, we're both. And people didn't understand the hybridity, didn't understand the movement we were trying to make, that we were building a business that was that was competitive, and yet we were doing it with a holistic approach to empowerment to our artisans. So we give free childcare, we give we have a food program every day, and we give health insurance that we take care of. And so the stipends that we give for our artisans are quite big. So people are like, well, how do you make this work? So my goal was always, there will be a day where product revenue alone will sustain all that we're doing. And we're on that path and quite almost there. I said 2030, so we're pretty close. So this was a long journey for us, but I had a lot of naysayers, a lot of people that said that I'm either going to give you from a foundation or I'm going to invest in you. And so I would say, we had a couple, the community, a couple people that took a chance. But I also, when I decided to get my doctorate, I did it because I wanted to see a seat at the table, because people weren't valuing the experience I already had and what I knew what was happening on the ground. Funny thing is, when I got my doctorate, I didn't want that seat anymore. I wanted to create my own table, because I already knew everything that we were doing, and I didn't need to prove that to anybody. But I would say I had one individual that is like a champion for me. I have multiple now, but a champion that said, I not only love your impacts, but I love the sustainability model, and I see what you're doing, and I'm going to trust you because I trust you're going to steward my time, finances, whatever it is well. And this individual has seen me in my darkest times of crying and in my biggest times in celebration, and has prayed with me, and has someone I can call on. And so I think having that one person, there's been tons of people and still people today that say your model doesn't work, you can't scale an artisan brand. But my question to them is, what is scalability to you? Because that's a relative term. What does scale mean? I'm not a tech company or fintech. I'm not something that I want to scale in US dollars, tens, hundreds of millions of US dollars. I'm something that I want to scale, and have a boutique scale that's going to make sense. And no one really saw that vision at hand. And so as visionaries, the last, piece of advice I would say is, as visionaries, be careful with the people you share your ideas with. Ideas are meant to be shared when they're matured and ready. I'm not saying don't be afraid to start, but people will want to shape them differently. They'll want to tell you what is and what isn't. And I started, again, really young, so I could relate a lot to your story of like, okay, watch me, or I had a lot, I was very impatient. You can even talk to, I have team members who've been with me now 10, 12, 13 years, who have just seen my evolution of leadership, and I've seen my hard moments and my good moments. But I would say ultimately, community. Yeah. But, and then so I had one individual who really believed in me, and then I had one family who really also gave our first investment into stepping into a business to start to scale. And I don't know where we'd be without those people who actually sat and listened. Now, I did a lot of hustling and a lot of tearing down, and I think we still do that today to continue to grow. But those people really were my champions, and I'm very, very grateful for that community.
I'll mention two people. First, I think in my 20s, when I was about 25, I was running about 5 companies at the same time. My mother was like, Sasa huyu ni nani? I was also a DJ.
Oh!
I gave my mother stress, let me tell you. Wow. But one of the people I learned from was my mom. My mom was very empathetic. And I couldn't understand, why are you bringing all these sharks people to our house? Like, why are they in our house? Why are they drinking? Why are they going to our fridge? Yeah, I was that child. I'm sorry. See, we said you're not judging. Yeah, but I saw my mom model that. A lot of empathy towards people, listening to people who, in turn, would just stab her in the back. Who asked if they steal stuff. You're like, why are you stealing spoons? Because why? Why are you putting a spoon in your bag? You know why? But my mom she was like, you know what? Maybe they don't see spoons. I'm like, what sort of reasoning is that? What sort of reasoning is that? So at some point I was very angry at my mom. I was like, why? Why are you accommodating towards all these people? Well, yeah, again, as just like you, there's been an evolution with me. It's like day and night. Like I could not have 5 minutes with you if you're not telling me how much I'm making. Yeah. I was boss babe from 25. Gen Z, there's a Gen Z looking at me like, you know. Another person, I don't know if you all remember Mr. Kirubi, Mr. Chris Kirubi. I used to do an event called Group Awards. So I used to be that girl who used to give the awards. And I remember one event, I was backstage, and he was part of the people giving awards. And he came backstage. I was backstage, and then he asked my friend, who is that? My friend was like, we were trying to that one, just leave her alone. Hey, you're telling Mr. Kirubi, leave her alone. Oh. Do you remember his black card? He had there's a lot of black card. You remember? Yes, it was black and it had gold. Yes, gold embossment. And he would give certain people. He came towards me, he's like, young girl, this young girl. Well, maybe thank my mom because I look young. So he came and gave me the card. He's like, I like how you're doing things. Here's my card, come see me in my office. I'm like, who are you? Don't say that. So I go to his office. At first, he kept me waiting. You keep me. I really didn't know who he was. Okay, so he kept me waiting. So he told me go to the international life house. Go and wait for me there. I'm like, so I went to the hotel he was at. He was having lunch with some ladies, and then when he came, I'm like, Atsa, why are you sitting down at a table? The audacity. Why are you sitting down at a table with such young women? He's like, wait, we're being recorded. What I leave it at that. So the answer he gave me was like, my God, do you need a mic? Like I was so embarrassed. I was like, my God. So we go up to his office. Then he tells me, okay, close the door. I'm like, no, me, I don't trust you. Ain't no way I'm trusting you. I'm not closing this door. He's like, yeah, who is this young lady? Do you know, from him, I sort of learned the ruthless side of business, because I was very, at that time I had a modeling agency. So I was very cutthroat. I was very, and it was not a space for women. There was not a lot of space made for women. So he taught me how to, trailblaze, like go through doors. Don't take no for an answer. So he was one of my mentors. May he rest in peace. Hizo zingine mimi sijui, but he used to tell people, this one is saved. This one is born again. This one is born again. Because, and I would tell women, I mean, you don't have to sleep with anyone. You have something between your brains, man. You have something between your ears. I think let's not do that. I can talk about that the whole day, like the whole day, right? So I thank Ruby. And I thank my mom. And one more, when I was in campus, I did journalism in campus, but you can't find me reading news or whatever. So I remember going to the psychologist lecturer, and I asked her, why are you here? Why are you teaching us psychology? Like journalism and psychology, zinaingiana wapi? Bless her soul. She just laughed. She was like, you'll understand one day. Here we are. I need to look for her by yes, please. Yeah. So yeah, those people and God. Listen, if I didn't have the strength of God, I wouldn't have the strength to deal with women. You guys know how we are, eh? You know. But God has given me the strength and the empathy to deal with women who, and God told me, look beyond, because I was like, please don't send me to women, please. I mean, we are dramatic, we have attitude, and God told me, look beyond that, because behind the attitude, behind the anger, behind the, I call them porcupine. Like you're like, that's a nice dress, you're like, leave me, like, okay, sorry, that has gone by. You get, behind that, there's pain. Behind that, there's someone who's been hurt. So God told me, look beyond that, and you'll be able to help my daughters. Sorry.
Thank you so much. It's good to have such a reputation. This one is saved. It's good to have such a reputation. I'm going to invite questions. Any burning question? I'm happy to take. Okay, the Gen Zs are rating. Yes, our sisters are rating. Let me run.
Hi everyone. So first, thank you all for being here. And my question would be, we are here as ladies, yes. But we don't live in this world alone as ladies. There's this other gender. Okay, my name is Valentine. In my experience, what I'm going through right now is being the only lady in a team full of men. How do you go about that? Working with men, sometimes, and there's some who want their egos to be massaged, something of the sort. And then one day you mentioned having a seat at the table, but I watched a video of just Ivy recently. She was saying having a seat at the table is not enough, because you can be there because they're inviting you to be inclusivity, but your viewpoints won't be heard. You're just there as a flower or something of the sort. So how do you go about that?
I think one thing that I'll mention is as you grow, especially because just even I find there's a lot of emotion, and in the sense of whatever might be happening, and I can feel that. And I would say as you grow in who you are and your expertise and the way you step into a room will look different over time. I would say as of now, there's nothing that you have to prove. There's nothing like in your mind to be to have self-assurance. I find as a believer as well, I can find that in Christ too, but I find to have self-assurance and to be confident in who you are and what you're bringing to the table. Now, the way they respond to you, might be something that is not what you want and is not what you expect. But you can go home that night, or you can go into your next day knowing that you can walk with the pride that you have and you can hold your head high. I think something that we talk about when we were younger, that we've been transformed over time. And I think that I feel like 20s are the hardest time in your whole life, to be honest. You're figuring out who you are. You're stepping into career, and there's different pivots throughout life. And then when you step into your 30s and 40s, it looks different because you've had experience and you can call on that experience, right? I said I wanted a seat at the table, and after I realized I don't want that seat anymore, I want to create my own table, because I know who I am and I know the value that I stand for. And so I think having confidence in a room is very important. Now, we have to learn also emotional regulation and what that looks like, because even as a CEO and founder, being in a culture that we live in, especially being in Mombasa, it's very different in how women are perceived or seen, or when you walk into different spaces. And so there's a way that we can be respectful. There's a way that we can be biblical too, especially in marriage, and be submissive, and yes, be partners, right? And so I think figuring out that confidence of what does it look like for me as a partner to my colleagues, as I have experienced just as they have, and bringing that into the room and being willing to walk in that. I don't know if that answered your question exactly, but I think my encouragement to you is that it does get better. I wouldn't say it gets easier, but I think as we grow as individuals and as women, and with confidence, self-assurance, and experience, the way your outlook on that conversation is, the way your outlook on life is, will change over time. And so to be open and curious to those conversations and those opportunities.
I was telling my new friend there, when you were talking after me, I realized I didn't even mention my family. So I'm in a
But we knew.
I'm in a house of boys.
Yes.
So let's start there. I have two beautiful sons who are 13 and 16. My COO male. So, but handling them, I think you said it very, very correctly. In time, it definitely gets easier. And then just knowing your stand and knowing your strength and your ability, and then they have to respect it and deal with that.
Build capacity. Build capacity. Build value. Build your value. Value at any table will speak for itself, whether it's a table of men or women. Better yet, that you're in a table of men where there's men, your value will speak. So they won't have to deal with emotions. You also have, dealing with men, you have to learn about emotional intelligence.
Thank you for responding. The last one is to thank Violette for organizing this. Thank you for believing in your dream, and thank you for everyone who showed up. I'm a creative graphic designer and also a social media manager. So when I'm in this room, that's why I notice the tiny details, because I'm like, I can see your banner, I see the colors, I see that. So when you're building and you need those designs, Niko area sitaenda Wanjiru Wathiongo.
That's on Instagram.
Yes, on Instagram, and on LinkedIn it's Valentine Wanjiru. Yes. Thank you for listening. I can talk, guys.
So thank you so much, ladies. I mean, today is my first time to jump into the Networking in Hills community today. I always follow them on socials. I really stalk you guys. So, and I saw how much value there was in what you guys were doing in the room and on the events that I missed. And I said, today, I am not missing. So I'm here really thanking you, ladies, for what you've done in the presentation and just the ambience, the environment, the community spirit, the sisterhood. It's very strong. There's something special about it. So I said again, my name is Bernadette, and I look after moms in postnatal phase. And when we say postnatal, we mean when moms have just given birth. But in that space, I get to meet a lot of women, and women do struggle a lot after childbirth. People don't talk much about that. We do a lot in the antenatal phase, which is the time before you give birth. Baby showers, everyone's checking, people rubbing your belly, doing all wonderful things. And then the baby's born, and then we see TikTok and whatever, selfies and what, and your story, it sort of fizzles away. And all we see is the baby with a pink bow, and we think that's all beautiful, don't we?
Yeah.
And then there's something inside. There's a mama somewhere who hasn't slept, and she's fearful. She's constantly checking on that baby, if that baby is breathing, and things are happening. And what am I saying? All of that causes a lot of trauma, that experience. So these women have gone through physical trauma, emotional trauma, the hormones do what they do, psychological, whatever, their friends disappear, they have a new title. In fact, when they were called Susie Beauty, she's Mama Nani. Yes, and then the next and the next, and then they forget themselves sometimes. So why am I standing here to ask my question, which I know many women in the room will probably resonate with? The world before is the one that is suffering a lot more, because they constantly carry that burden. And when you ask them and they say, huyo mtoto, I just nearly died.
I have never overcome this. I'm not having another child again. And they suffer and they carry that burden, and just the idea of being maternal is very, very painful. And they almost live with it and silently bear with it. What is the best advice to give to such women? And many of them go through that and they just handle it very gracefully and they just give it to God. But there's also Mungu anasaidia tujisaidie. Thank you very much, ladies.
Bernadette, thank you for that question. It's a reality for a lot of moms. So having gone through childbirth in both ways, they're all normal ways to give birth. They've been normalized. So I was fortunate to have my mom with me for the first 3 months, and it just helped that I didn't have to wake up and think, what am I going to eat? She's already prepared something for me. So that was a very big deal. And I know a lot of moms don't have that. In fact, I wonder how they do it out in the States. Because people are busy and people are living by the hour. So every hour, every dollar, so it's harder to get that kind of support. So I was fortunate in that way. And then I also have had and I definitely recognize my privilege, because not like I'm good with selecting nannies or whatever, but I've had a good series of nannies to support in that process. And even in the places where I've worked, I've had bosses who are sort of like, you see them looking the other way. They really should not look the other way, but they kind of look the other way when you need to leave to do a clinic visit. They look the other way when you say, can I get this done later in the night? So they're not demanding an outcome in by 5. They're like, you know what, if I can get by midnight, it's fine. Still end of business, end of day, you know. So it's not that. And I've also been on the other end of, managers who are like, you're not the first person to have a baby. And be in corporate. And it's a truth, but I feel like there's not much grace that's given. And what I'd say is that, number one, the day you become a mom, then you have to give yourself grace, because you don't even know who you are in that moment. You've lost your identity. So you're no longer Bernadette. Like for me, I moved from being Violette to being Mama Nuru. And it was so difficult. And it felt like complaining about it was, I was being a brat or I'm whining. You're supposed to like put on your big girl panties and grow up. But there's loss and there's grief. I grieve my very high heels. I still have them, but my back is not cooperating. I grieve my size 12 outfits, and no matter what I do, it's just the body is not going back there, and it is what it is. There's grief for the friendships. There's grief for the nights out where I wouldn't even be bondeka the next day. I used to be that chick. We're out the next day. I'm up again, and we're doing this. And now, even when I just do a small night out at 1 a.m., the next day I'm like, it's never used to be me, I used to have I used to be a natural energizer bunny. And I also grieve the flexibilities. And one of the things I'd say to the youngest, when you're young, and the Bible says it very well, do what you need to do at that season of your life.
Correct.
So do what you need to do in that season of your life as much as you can. And not that you're being hedonistic, or you're rioting, but it does help that I got to stack up so many experiences that when I was at home on a Friday night breastfeeding, and the best thing I can do is drink cocoa, and I'm looking on social media, Instagram is blazing. I'm like, this is nice. Oh, they've gone for kunye. Okay. So you're not mad at people for living life and feel like you've been left behind, because motherhood does give you and left behind. You just be like, I'm not being invited for road trip. So I just say that it is important to, I'll say, pray about it, so that it's God who brings people about us.
Yes.
And when people do come around you, also pray for discernment, so that you are able to just, be surround yourself with people who get what you're doing, get the season of your life you're in. And not to say that you're burdening them, but so that then when you're speaking, able to relate, and you can share, carry one another's burdens. You're not meant to do life alone. And before you get from community, please sow into your communities. A lot of people, they do life alone, and then suddenly is when they need people. So sow into your community, give as much as you can. So the day you need, I promise you there will be there'll be a return on the investment in that sense. And you might not I might sow into Bernadette in this season, but Bernadette will not be available to sow into me when I need her. But guess what? Because of that energy I put out there, I'll find Derby available to support me. So don't say, oh, I gave Susie, I was there for Susie, and then she didn't even come for my baby shower. No. Imagine because you gave to that, it has to balance. Give and trust it will come back, and you'll be so surprised at the people who are there for you. Be open to receiving. I know a lot of us are boss babes. People can disappoint you. It's true. All those things are true, but be open to receiving. Love and support comes to you from very unlikely sources. So don't look at the package many times. Just accept the support, and that's how you grow, and that's how you go through your phases, and that's how you're even able to mourn in peace, because you must mourn. You'll mourn in peace, and that when you see other people having their times, you won't start feeling like they're having it better than you. You will be very appreciative of the life that you have, and you realize you're privileged to be able to bring a human into the world if that is what you wanted. Again, not everybody wants it, but if that is what you wanted, you realize, oh, you're so privileged, and able to go through the different seasons without wondering so much of what could have been, of what the other side looks like. So that has been my experience so far. But above all, pray, tap into your spiritual support system, and you'll see a difference. And I'll quote, it does get better with time. Yeah. Are you a mommy? Do you want to give experience?
I'm not a mom, but I'm an aunt mom.
Yes.
Oh. I love those babies. My sister says, if you touch those ones and when there's you'll die. You will die. The case in Bele, you will die. Okay. So one of the things I was very intentional when my sister was getting her firstborn. I quit what I was doing. I camped in her house, and she would just wake up in the morning. She just give me the baby. I'm like, sasa wanafanya nini? I'm like, okay. And that's now we have a fantastic relationship. But now she's nice. She's like, why are you doing that? I'm like, who are you asking? Why? Like, is this what I'm going to go through? But now that I'm not a mom doesn't mean I can't learn.
Yes.
We know better. Now that we know what moms go through, the ones that we don't have babies, let's be intentional. If you know someone who's given birth, just take time. Just go to them. You're like, you know what? Give me that. I know you have your house manager. I know you have everything sorted. But just give me the baby. Go sleep for 7 hours, 3 hours. Just do them. So us who we're not moms, but we can be aunt moms. We can give the moms, time. I know it might cost you maybe that day of making sales and whatever, but be intentional. As she said, give. At some point it will get back.
I'll be fast. I know I want to be mindful of time. Does anybody in here have kids under 5? Anyone? Okay, yeah. It gets better after 5, I would say. But I just want to say my biggest advice, you asked what advice I'd give. All my kids are 2 years apart. So when they were born 2 and 4, it was one of the hardest seasons of my life. And when you go through pregnancy or whatnot, your body goes through hormones and you're on this high. And you have your baby and you dip, your hormones dip. And this isn't what's talked about, but I'd say my biggest advice is to find a confidant to talk in. My husband is my best friend. I love my husband to death. And I am the woman I am also because of him. And I remember sitting there with my third, and I had a pandemic baby. She was born May 2020. So being in Mombasa, we were barricaded in Old Town, actually. So I had to get through barricades to have my baby. She was fast. It was great. But anyways, came home, and I just remember she was 6 days old, and I have this very vivid memory, and I actually have a picture of it, and I'm holding her. She's 6 days. I have my 2-year-old daughter and my 4-year-old son. And in my head at that moment is as if I was like looking at myself, right? Because there's a lot of out-of-body experiences you go through as a mother. And I remember saying, in my head thinking, I don't want anything. I don't want this. I'm not, I want to be alone. I don't want this. I don't want kids. I don't want to be on this earth. It was the first time I went through such a severe postpartum depression. Before I had postpartum anxiety and didn't realize how to identify that, because when you're hustling and you run a business, you always have things going on. So anxiety kind of naturally happens sometimes. Yeah, you have a lot going on. When you have a kid on top of a lot going on, I remember having my son, my firstborn, and having a meeting 3 days later in my house with my team, you know? So when you have a lot going on, you just keep going for it. But what I say is tell someone. Immediately when that happened, I told my husband, I said, I'm not okay. I know these are not my thoughts. I know this is not who I am, but this is what's actually happening in my head right now. And I am very sad. And that year was really hard because I lost someone. I had my child. 3 months later, I lost a good mentor to suicide. I was an auntie. She drowned. So there was a lot of things that happened that year. But tell someone, because it will happen and it will catch you by surprise. I think that's the reason. It will catch you by surprise, and we shouldn't try to hide that. It should be normalcy. So I tell my younger women in my life, and I'm very open with kind of my journey as motherhood. But I'm like, if you want to hear all the ins and outs, come to me. I won't tell you the pretty things. I'll tell you what it's going to feel like and what maybe the next week is going to look like after. Because you're right. After the baby showers, after all those things, you're still healing, not only physically, but emotionally, mentally, and you're stripped away from a title. You will always forever be mom. And I'm very grateful that I have a very supportive spouse who supported me at that journey. Because depression is real, and you add postpartum onto that, it becomes a different journey altogether. So don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to journey into that. Find a friend, find family. So yeah, and not all of us might have great relationships with parents and things like that. So find someone who you can trust, who's going to pour into you and love you well.
For me, I literally wish I had met you then, 16 years ago. It wasn't impossible, but it wasn't fun. I have 2 boys who are 3 years apart. So the first 5 years of that story, like, I think I had to just remove it from my brain. When I also started this beauty all at the same time. Everything was starting at the same time. I was pregnant, like sourcing in Taiwan. I think there was a time I was almost refused to have boarded a flight because I was 7 months pregnant. I'm like, no, I'm 4 months pregnant. I look bigger than I am. So then, anyway, had them. So 2 boys under the age of 5, like, so just rough times. And I would ask my friends who had older kids, I'm like, please, it gets better, because boys are extra when they're younger. And they would be like, no, with each phase, it's different problems. I tell everyone, it's a billion% gets better. So now I'm in the situation where I have a 16-year-old and a 13-year-old who in 3 years, they won't be there anymore. So, and then we're friends, and they're so sweet. And but it's still, mom, this morning it was chaos. That's why I was 15 minutes late. Mom, I need a waistcoat. Why didn't you say yesterday? Why did you have it? I need my black t-shirt with a thingy. But trying to enjoy every moment. I remember in the beginning when my first son was a baby, and my husband was at work, and then he'll come home and he would cry for like an hour straight, like at 4 p.m. or whatever it was. Nothing. Change diapers, to feed, to do the things. Nothing. Not just my husband many times would come and find me holding him. He's crying and I'm just crying. So we're just sitting crying. So he comes and takes him away. And then there's nothing to do. There's nothing. Yeah, so that's like aftercare. I had my mom, of course, but she could only be there for so long. But I love this story. So please do that. for them.
Thank you very much.
Yes. I won't be part of it. That water is not coming.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's appreciate the panel, ladies and gentlemen. I know we have many questions, but we have kept you here for so long, and I don't think we have lunch, do we? No, but we have cake. We have cake. Yay! We have cake. So let's appreciate the panelists once more. So we're going to cut the cake because I know people have meetings in the afternoon because you guys are sharing for this event in the morning. As we get our house in order, the cake DJ, please. And also, as we get our house in order. Sorry, it's okay. Oh, okay. I have been told that, but I will do it very faster as we put our house in order, DJ. The theme for this year. Do you remember the theme for this year? What's the theme? Give to gain. We've made friends, right? You remember my first assignment? I'm so proud. I've been moving around the tables and I'm just seeing people are writing paragraphs. I am so passionate in this. I do this. I was just like, oh, must be nice. And you guys didn't ask me anything about myself.
Yeah, tell us. Come on.
So I want us to make a commitment to ourselves, right? This 2026, what are you giving and what are you also hoping to gain? This is just for your personal consumption. This you do not have to share with us. What are you giving and also what are you hoping to gain? Even as we just talk about this theme, give to gain. And even as we strive to uplift each other, uplift ourselves, give ourselves, extend grace to ourselves, extend grace to each other. What are you hoping to give? And also what are you hoping to gain as well? So just think about that as we go home, as we go on with the rest of the month, the Women's Month this month, and even as you go on with the rest of the year this year as well. So what are you hoping to give? And what are you hoping to gain? Yes, DJ, are we ready for our cake cutting?
Wait, can I you know what we need to actually, if you guys also, me, I'm plugging. I want at least 10 purchases from 10, 15, 20 of you lovelies over there. And then, how many women are in this room? 50? 60? 60? At Obao Official on social. That means I have 16 new followers today at obao.official. Thank you. Love you.